Good morning, everyone. It's really a pleasure to see everyone this morning, and such a full Zendo at the Village Zendo, uh, and those here in the vaults, and everyone online in all our different time zones. Here we are all together in this time, and yet for some people, this time is an earlier time, and for some people, this time is a later time, but we're all together in this time right now. And we call it here January 20th. Saturday, January 20th is the words we've assigned to this time. And it's a cold Saturday morning. And I've said it before, but I'm really struck by the radical nature of what we do when we do this, how revolutionary it is to come together and share observation of our breath, this miracle of a human form that we've been gifted with, that can take in oxygen and put out carbon dioxide, and the fire next to me can take in oxygen. It's kind of just a miracle, really, when you think about it, this time we take to just observe our breath. And we say our breath, but it's all of our breath, this shared breathing that we have. And this morning I was walking up our slight hill to the Zendo. My breath was caught in the air. I could see it right there in front of me. And, to think that it was just that small amount of, condensed, visible air is not the truth. It's so much more than that. Each breath, the whole world. So deep bow of gratitude to everyone who makes this happen, to our Shuso Jakuin, to our Ino, Kojin, and Seiru, the Village Zendo Sangha, our online Sangha, the New Pulse Zen Center folks, and everyone who's come together today to partake in this revolutionary, radical act of sharing silence in this moment. So we've been studying Uji this period, this Ango period, this period of peaceful dwelling. Uji was the fascicle chosen by our Shuso and our abbess to study. And I think it can seem very daunting at times. Dogen can seem so inaccessible and so poetic and obscure and just not graspable. And that was echoed by folks on retreat who came to me in Doksan. Not everyone, but many shared, this is so difficult to understand. What is he talking about? What is Dogen talking about? And I sometimes feel that way, that I don't have the intellectual acumen to take all of this in. And yet more and more, I'm starting to think that perhaps he's not being so poetic, and maybe he's just being clear and direct with us. And what he's written is exactly what he means, that it's not hidden in some poetic language that we can't grasp, that we're just not smart enough to understand. He's actually saying it as simply as he can, not being stingy with the Dharma at all, not hiding anything, but saying, this is it. Sometimes a 16-foot body, sometimes an 8-foot body, sometimes 3 heads, sometimes 8 arms. He's speaking directly to us. It's not hidden. So recently, our abbess Enkyo Roshi celebrated a birthday, and I was struck as all the birthday greetings were coming in on our IO list to her, that I'm the age now that she was when I met her, and I started practicing with her. I was sort of struck, like, oh, those many years have passed. Isn't that interesting that when I met Enkyo, she was the age I am now. And in that time, many things have happened. I have changed careers and gotten a new career. I met someone and then married him. I've moved 5 times. I've started school and finished school and started school again and finished school again. I've lost good friends and had to say goodbye to them. And I have made new friends and new acquaintances. Sangha members have passed. New Sangha members have joined us. A lot has happened. And there's thought that this time has a linear sort of aspect to it, that was then, and then this happened, and then this thing happened. And there's truth to that. That's absolutely true. Um, you know, there is a linear aspect of time that I was, 30 something, and now I'm 50 something. It's different. And yet it's also true that it's all right here and all right now, happening in this moment, not outside of this moment. Dogen says, 3 heads and 8 arms may be yesterday's time. The 8 or 16-foot body may be today's time. Yet yesterday and today are both in the moment. When you directly enter the mountains and see thousands and myriads of peaks, yesterday's time and today's time do not go away. 3 heads and 8 arms move forward as your time be. It looks as if they are far away, but they are here now. The 8 or 16-foot body moves forward as your time be. It looks as if it is nearby, but it is that it is not nearby, but it is actually here. Thus, a pine tree is time, bamboo is time. So perhaps today, after a few periods of zazen, you can appreciate your 16-foot body. You feel large and timeless in your practice, present to this moment. And I hope that's the case for you, because it's true. It's absolutely true that you possess a 16-foot body and you are timeless in this moment. But it's also maybe true that perhaps you are feeling, after a few periods of zazen, the Buddha with knee pain or back pain, the Buddha who is just looking at the Jikido going, why haven't you rung the bell? Oh my gosh, this period is so long. It's taking so much time. And I think we've all experienced time in those different ways. Time that feels as if it's standing still, a work day that just won't end. You look at the clock and how can it only be 10 after 2? It was 2 o'clock 3 hours ago. And then we've also experienced time moving too quickly. Perhaps we're on a good vacation and we go, oh my gosh, how is it already the Saturday, that I have to go home? This time flew, having fun. So we can experience time in many different ways. And I was struck by Irene and Saiju's posting on the IO group. If you saw it, if you haven't, get on the IO group and find it and look at it. It was a slideshow of beautiful, beautiful photos. And they shared over it a dialogue back and forth, sort of a reflection on Uji, being time, with Steve Reich's music as well, which always is a favorite of mine. And it was a lot about streams freezing at the edges, but flowing in the middle. And it struck me, water sometimes still, sometimes moving in all its forms, in gas, as a solid, and as a liquid. And Dogen might say, gas flowing into water, water flowing into water, gas flowing into gas, ice flowing into ice, ice flowing into water. So things as they are, in the state that they are in, not wishing for them to be in another state or striving to be in some other state, but recognizing that the state we are in is perfect. And I remember meeting Roshi in an interview quite some time ago. I think we were on Varick Street, and I was in a state, I don't know, heartbreak, something. I honestly don't remember what it was, but teary and very, emotional. And Enkyo Roshi said, "How are you right now?" And I was struck because my first thought was, well, can't you see? I'm a hot mess. What do you mean, how am I right now? I'm emotional. And she said, no, how are you right now? And I had a chance to look and say, yes, I'm heartbroken. Yes, I'm devastated. Yes, I'm all of these things, but I'm also okay right now. Right now is actually okay. So we can be filled with strong emotions, but also um, fine with it. So I recognized my story of how I was obscuring how I actually was. It was extra. So right now in my life, I feel very, very busy. I feel like I have three heads, and I really wish I had eight arms. If I had eight arms, I'd utilize them all fully. But I'm busy. I'm doing a grad program, as some of you know, and taking on 6 grad level credits, and I'm writing in APA format all the time. And I'm trying to keep the Zen Center going, and I work a full-time job, and there's a dog to take care of, and a husband to try to be present for, and kind to when I feel this busy. And this semester, I'm taking 2 courses. I'm taking nursing research and teaching theory, and they're both very dry. I can't say they're stimulating in any way. Much of the reading, I read 2 pages and recognize that my mind has been somewhere else entirely. And I have to go back to the top and go, what did I just read? And reread it over and over and over. But recently, in one of the readings, in my teaching theory, they brought up Heidegger, Martin Heidegger, and his book, which is called Being and Time. I didn't recognize until I did a little research that he actually signed right into the Nazi Party as well. I didn't know that until afterwards. So that was a bit of a surprise because I was very excited. And then I went, oh, maybe I don't need to be so excited about this. But 700 years between Dogen and this existentialist German philosopher, and yet they're sort of pointing at the same thing. I can't say I've read Being in Time and that I even understand existentialism fully, but it seems as if they're pointing in the same direction. And thinking I was so clever, I went, oh, look at this. And of course, a quick Google search showed me about 5 papers comparing Dogen's Uji to Heidegger's Being and Time. So I went, ah, I'm not as clever as I think I am, but don't tell my nursing theory teacher, because I'm definitely going to try to present myself as a genius in this course for sure. So, while Dogen may seem inaccessible, this like 500-page tome of Heidegger's is probably makes it look like P-Spot Run. Probably a lot easier to wrap your head around. So in my busyness, I was reminded of a koan that I love, and I think someone just spoke of this koan recently, so sorry if I'm bringing it up again. But Yunyan was sweeping the ground, and Dawu came by and saw him and said, "Too busy." And Yunyan said, "There is someone who isn't busy." And Dawu said, "If that is so, then there's a second moon." And Yunyan held up the broom he was sweeping with and said, "Which moon is this?" So we've had quite a bit of snow here in New Paltz, probably a little bit more than you've had in the city. And as our driveway here is quite long, we have to have it plowed. So we've hired a new plowing company, as I was displeased with our last plow guy who tore our driveway up quite a bit. But I think it's this company's done the same. So it's a losing battle when you have gravel driveway. It just gets torn up by plows. But they've plowed our small little parking spot between some trees where we parked for the Zendo, got plowed in. It was a great place to push all the snow from the driveway. So I can't really fault the plow driver, but I recognized on Wednesday, oh, it's my responsibility if people are coming to sit tonight to go shovel that out and clear out a space for cars to park. And so I'd gotten up to the Zendo and was surprised by how much snow there actually was. And the sun had barely come up. I knew I had to get to work, but I also had to make it so that people could come and sit that evening. And so while I was shoveling away, stories came up. This sucks. This is too much. Why do I have to do this? I wish it was another time. I wish it was spring, and then I wouldn't have to shovel. There were all the stories that came up. And then I looked at my shovel and I said, which moon is this? And I just picked up the next shovel full of snow and I put it to the side. And then I got the next shovel full of snow and I put it to the side. The story was still there, the story was still a little bit like, ugh, shoveling. And yet I could be present for the shovel. So Dogen says, the time being is entirely actualized without being caught up in nets or cages. Deva kings and heavenly beings appear right and left are the time being of your complete effort right now. The time being of all beings throughout the world in water and on land is just the actualization of your complete effort right now. All beings of all kinds in the visible and invisible realms are the time being actualized by your complete effort, flowing due to your complete effort. Closely examine this flow. Without your complete effort right now, nothing would be actualized. Nothing would flow. So I held my shovel up, like I said, and said, which moon is this? Just shovel, followed by the next shovel. And my opinions were extra. So shoveling is this moment mind, not separate from everything before and not separate from everything yet to come. So are you creating a moon today? Are you closely examining the flowing with your complete effort? I hope so. This is an opportunity to do that when we come together like this. This shovel full of snow, this moment of giving a talk, this 16-foot Buddha, this pain in my knee, we so often add to it. And Dogen in the Genjo poem states, if you want to experience thusness, practice thusness. Things as they are, just this moment, right here, right now. And this right here and right now has room for all the things that preceded it and all the sequela that will come of it. So with that, I will leave you with a short verse I have written about shoveling. A rush to make things right, missing that everything is perfect as it is. Sweeping the drifts of snow away from the temple door does not keep the cold from the soles of my feet. This mind shoveling itself out, making room to park what? What can occupy this space? What vehicle can fill this timeless time? The crackle of the fire calls me back. There is one who is not busy. Just this moon peeking through the clouds. Just this shovel full of snow.